Hello, and welcome to Planning with the End in Mind. My name is Rocco Williams, and I will be taking you through the presentation. This slide is for this presentation only. It is a copy of my action map. As you can see, it shows the path taken from the main target to behaviors, practice, and information. My main target is for teachers to be more effective planners. In order to do that, they will need to master 3 objectives. The first objective is that the learner is able to diagram a standard. The second is that the learner is able to identify the 5 E's in the 5E lesson cycle. And the final objective is that the learner is able to differentiate between the different types of lesson plans: global, state view, and term by term. We jump right in by watching a 5-minute video from the website leadforward.com that explains how to diagram a standard. The teachers will need this information to complete their practice. When they have completed it, they will click the next button. This page gives instructions to the learner so it is clear how to walk through the practice activity. In the practice activity, the learner thinks through diagramming a 4th grade science standard. They click through the slide to discover their answers. This slide gives them instructions on how to complete more practice on their own. The pictures on the side are meant to be a preview of what the learner will see on the following pages. From this page, the learner will click on their grade level. That will take them to a standard from that corresponding grade. Once the learner clicks a grade level, a check will appear indicating that they have already completed it. They will have the opportunity to practice as many grades as they want in order to feel comfortable with diagramming a standard. Let's start with 3rd grade. This is the 3rd grade diagramming practice page. The learners were instructed to think through the process first, then click on the boxes to reveal the answers to see if they were correct. In this example, the verbs of the standard are to observe, measure, record, and compare. The students will be doing all of those things in relation to the weather by using air temperature, wind direction, and precipitation. Being able to diagram a standard in this way gives the teacher a visual way to see how many different ways it needs to be taught. If we follow all of the paths, we can see that the students will need to observe day-to-day weather as air temperature. They will observe day-to-day weather as wind direction, and observe day-to-day weather as precipitation. They will also need to measure, record, and compare day-to-day weather in all of these different ways. This is a very full standard that will take quite a bit of planning. The learner will click on the back button to take them to the grade selection page. From there, they can choose to do more practice or move on with the course. As you can see, the check mark indicates the grade level they have completed. Let's continue by clicking Next. This page is the first check for understanding in the course. The learners are directed to click on the picture. This will take them to a formative assessment through the website goformative.com. In this assessment, the learner will analyze a standard and be asked to fill in the blank for each box. As the instructor, I am able to see what they are completing in real time and also am able to give them feedback immediately. For this example, I would type in the word recognize because I know that is the verb for this standard. We now move on to our second objective, which is to identify the 5 E's in the 5E lesson cycle. The learners will have a choice to either watch a short video explaining the 5 E's, or if they prefer, they can click the link that takes them to a website to read about the 5E process. Either way, they will receive the same information needed to complete the practice activity. This page explains how they will be completing their practice work. This is their first practice page, on which the learner will read each activity description. They will then think about which E from the 5E lesson cycle it would fit into. Clicking Next will display the answers. This page will direct the learner to click a link in order to access a Google Form quiz. The quiz will be used by the instructor to see if the learners are grasping the 5E lesson cycle. We move on to the last objective, which is to identify the 3 types of lesson plans by watching a short video that explains what they are. The global view, which is a very broad view of what will be taught over a long period of time. This is used to plan whole units. The next plan is a little more zoomed in. We call it the state view. In this plan, a topic is broken down and a week or 2 is planned. The last view, and most specific, is the turn-by-turn view. This goes into the most detail and includes everything a teacher would need to think about to deliver one day's lesson. Here we give the learner instructions of how to complete the practice by clicking on the graphic under each type of planning to practice each one. These slides give instructions that the learner is to use the template and examples to come up with a global plan, state view plan, and turn-by-turn plan. Here's what the global page view looks like. The links allow the learner to see an example, and it gives them a template so that they can start to make a global plan for their next big unit. The learners will then go through the state view and the turn-by-turn in order to see examples and start planning in those ways as well. This is the final check for understanding. Here the learner will upload their 3 types of lesson plans to a Google Drive folder. We end with reviewing the target and objectives of the course. Thank you for following this course, and I hope you enjoyed it.